Okay. Just reviewing San Jose State, I thought it was a total team victory. I thought we played really good on defense, especially in the tight red zone. I was really proud of those guys. They really bowed up in that red zone. When you look at a guy like David Fales, who I think has earned every bit of recognition, he deserves it. Very, very good quarterback. I don't think he found his rhythm all night. That's a testament to our D-line, our pressures, and our back-end coverage. Thought Nevin Lawson played extremely well. Tight coverage all night. Took the whole side of the field he lined up on away, and so I'm happy for him. Thought he played really well. Both our inside linebackers continue to play at a really high level, and they're very, very productive. Offensively, I thought we ran the ball well. I thought that Chucky was better. And, there's a lot of yards and a lot of points, but nitpicking and the things that we do, I think we left a lot out there. Okay, we want to be better in the red zone. We want to score touchdowns every single time, 100% of the time. That didn't happen. There's frustration as players and coaches when that doesn't happen because we know we left stuff out there and we want to be perfect. We're always looking for that utopia performance on offense, and we'll always be I think we'll be happy and not really satisfied, but we'll always be happy with excellence, and we're always striving for perfection, which is hard to obtain. I get that, but 7 possessions in the red zone, 4 touchdowns, 3 field goals, 82% of the available points. Our goal is to always have 75% of the available points. So we reached our goal there, although I would have liked to have seen it higher. There have been more points on the board. I think we left some yards out there, but thought the O-line did a really nice job, and I thought our backs ran hard, so I was happy with that. And Travis Reynolds, 2 weeks in a row, has played really, really well. He was our MVP on offense. And, again, another testament, I think, to a young man that continues to practice well, prepare well. And he's doing all the things right as far as that's concerned, and then he ends up playing well ultimately. And so I think it's a direct reflection of that. And we preach that, and I think we're starting to see some of those fruits of different guys' labors individually. So looking ahead, BYU, I think it's a game that as I look at them, stop the run the ball. We're going to have to find ways to run the ball on offense. We're going to have to stop the run, stop the QB run game. Taysom is an extremely talented young man. He is I got a lot of respect for him, and he is a very, very good athlete, very good quarterback, and is a tough-minded kid, and has a lot of intangibles you like to coach as a player, and I know that. And so he's the key of that offense, and he makes it go. As I look at him from a defensive perspective, from our offensive perspective, looking at their defense, I think they're a very typical Bronco Mendenhall coach defense. A lot of respect for him and his defensive staff. I've played against him at Tulsa. I played against him at New Mexico. Played against him every year here. Some things don't change. What doesn't change? Schematically, they're very, very sound in what they do. They run to the football. They tackle well in space, and they play with a high level of energy, and they're high-effort guys. And so that is stuff that a lot of times I don't believe is born into players. It's coached into players, and so I've got a lot of respect for them for what they do on defense. And it's always been a challenge and tough defense to go find points, find seams, find advantages numerically, schematically, personally or man-to-man, all that kind of stuff. So I think they do a great job. They're very good in the return game, special teams. Our coverage teams will have their work cut out for them. Our kickoff and our punt coverage teams of containing those guys, I think they do a really good job there in special teams. So it should be a great atmosphere. I'm looking forward to it. 6,500 students, the herd coming out, and the game's been sold out for a few weeks now, and just the atmosphere and the buzz around Logan is big time. It's fun. But from, internally, the way we prepare and the way we practice and the things that we go about need to stay very consistent. So I'll go ahead and open it up from there.
Kyle Wimpy, done?
Kyle is, Kyle's going to be done for the year, unfortunately. It's That's a hard deal. Sorry. I got a lot of respect for Kyle. You hate that for any kid. Senior year, the kid is, and for it to happen on this week, going into this week, I guess I should say, it stinks for him. So it's real life. It's real emotions for us. We're not going to hide it. It just it's part of the game. We all know that. We all understand that, and we all accept that. It's the reality of it that stinks. So he'll have surgery sometime this week and be there to support his teammates, and he'll be a great teammate. And we'll move on, and that's a unit that prides itself on their team guys. They got a lot of pride in that unit. I think typically most O-line units do, but this one's different. So they'll play well. Trust me.
You've always said that you have Vavao, Cini, some of these guys that you might have to use, though.
Yeah, well,
So
and they're gonna have to step up. The guys around them are gonna have to help them. They're gonna have to step up individually, and they've been preparing for this. So I've got confidence in who we put out there as a unit and who we put out there individually, that they'll play well and they'll hold their end of the rope, and so we'll be fine up there.
Was it a meniscus?
It's patellar tendon.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you feel about Cini coming in and playing in that kind of adverse
It
situation?
was good. No, he's gotten a lot of playing time, leading up to that, and so, now it'll be extended playing time. So Cini will be just fine. Bill Vavalo will be just fine. Whoever we put in there next to him, those guys they'll play well around them. Tyler will play well. Kevin Wimpy will play well, and Schultz will play well. And as long as we communicate and we stick together, then they'll play well as a unit.
BJ was just mentioning that playing La Tech's offense last year in terms of tempo. How does that tempo compare to the tempo you're going to see Friday?
I would assume it'd be pretty similar, Bob. It's fast. La Tech was warp speed. They were fast, so I would expect it to be very, very similar.
Some people have talked about Taysom Hill's throwing and his efficiency. Have you seen any improvements from watching film last week that he's kind of made since the Holy War game?
What's the Holy War?
Utah game.
Oh, that's Utah?
Yeah, BYU
Oh.
Utah.
Okay. Yeah, I knew what that game was,
Yeah.
but I don't put them in order, so I don't know. Where a lot of his improvements, I thought the receivers did a nice job of, a lot of passing game. Let me just say this: a lot of passing game gets directly, the spotlight gets put on the quarterback, good or bad. When Chucky has a really good game, or when Taysom has a really good game, or Peyton Manning has a really, really good game, you say, oh, man, he was right on, da-da-da. Well, a lot of times they're contested catches. A lot of times the spacing and the timing is really, really good on the perimeter. And then when it's not a good passing outing, everything gets pointed right back on the quarterback. And sometimes it's rhythm, sometimes it's protection, sometimes it's things flashing in front of a quarterback's face. And so it is maybe there's penetration, maybe there's pressure on him from an O-line standpoint, running back standpoint and pass protection, tight end standpoint and pass protection. So I'm sure they're getting some kinks worked out. I think it was very smooth. It looked really good Friday night on the tape that I saw. And so I'm sure that there's plenty of people around him that are more confident, doing a good job around him. And I mean O-line, and I mean receivers and running backs.
What makes him so good running the ball, though? I mean, looks like he's powerful, let alone fast.
Yeah, he's strong, he's physical, he's very confident. He's an extremely very good athlete. He's fast. I mean, he's really fast. So, they do a good job of scheming QB runs from a schematic standpoint. And then there's some stuff, just like with Chucky, that you can't coach and you can't scheme. And, it's man-to-man, and a lot of times he makes those guys miss or runs through arm tackles because his lowers are really strong. So he'll be a load to stop.
What do you see out of a guy like J.D. Fossil, a local kid, making
Well,
a name for himself down
Yeah,
there?
and I don't know JD great. Kind of met him a little bit since I've been here and all that, but a lot of respect for him because I think he's got mojo. I think he's got a lot of moxie. He's a football player. I mean, what position and or multiple positions I should say, you can't pin him down and all that stuff. I'd like to coach him. I know that.
What do you see out of Kyle Vinoy and Fua on that linebacking spots that they do really well?
Well, Calvin is going to play on Sundays for a long time, in my opinion. He's long, he's rangy, he is twitchy, he's fast. He can go from slow to fast really quick. He can redirect. He is a really good pass rusher against running backs, against O-linemen. It doesn't really matter. He causes major matchup problems. So I'll be happy to shake his hand Friday night and be done facing Kyle Vanoy. He's a really good player. A lot of respect for him.
You just went through all the variables that can happen in the passing game.
You mean to go through it again?
No.
Oh.
You didn't say anything about, and you probably wouldn't unless you're asked, and you may not when you're asked, but what about, they keep saying he's got problems with his mechanics as a quarterback.
Well,
Is that on the list of,
oh, yeah. Yeah, that's an individual thing. Just like, I mean, we're trying to tweak Chucky every week. You know, every guy, you know, I saw an interview on Peyton Manning the other day, and he's talking about what he does early in the week from a mechanic standpoint. You know, footwork, release, lowering his elbow, having different release points, drills that you do, accuracy stuff. So those guys do it. I'm sure Taysom does it. Chucky does it. You know, I think that's a constant daily refining, and for those guys just to stay tight and get better and continue to improve from a technique standpoint. It's very similar to a golf swing. And where's your release? You know, where's your lower body fit when you're coming down, right, Al? You with me, Al? Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, it's all timing and rhythm and that kind of stuff. So it's kicker, quarterback, golfers. I mean, those guys are always refining their mechanics. Each week, I think, daily, in each week, even in season. So I know Chucky does, so I can't speak to Taysom, but I'm sure he does too.
Talk about Travis Reynolds and how he's really shown out the last 2 weeks. Those first weeks, you know, Travis Van Leeuwen shined and Brandon Swindle shined. You know, what has Travis done more recently, Travis Reynolds done?
Well, like I said earlier about Travis Reynolds, when I said he was the player of the week, I think he's really practiced well. He continues to, I think, grind and kind of be a football junkie in here in the building. I see him in here a lot. But the bottom line is sometimes you can't predict that at receiver is when your time is to shine, and how balls get dictated towards you because of quarterbacks' progressions that are either a progression read or their coverage reads. And so coverages dictate sometimes who gets the first look or who gets the ball. Chucky does a great job of playing, I think, within the system. And so the ball has been coming his way, and he's made the plays. He's been open, and he's finished plays. So when they've presented themselves, when plays have presented itself to him, he's made a play, and he's done really well. So,
Is this a pass rush game for Chucky like USC was in some ways, the way BYU comes after you with their pressure or whatever? Or?
Well, I think it's more up to us to pick up pressures and to create a pocket for him, whether the pocket's moving, the pocket is a 5-man, a 6-man, a 7-man, an 8-man protections is protecting him. So I think it's a little bit more on us than the opposition.
Coach, one of the staples of Bronco Mendenhall defense is he's always been good at containing mobile quarterbacks. He's had a lot of success against Utah State the past couple of years with Chucky and DeAndre Burrell. Do you see something from him schematically that he does well with his defenses that help in that aspect of the game?
Well, I think they contain a lot of guys, whether they're mobile guys. They put different pressures on pocket passers. You can see some of the stuff that they do in the different kinds of quarterbacks that they face. So I think he does a nice job of structuring game plans to who they're facing. And and again, like I said, they're always schematically very, very sound as far as numbers are concerned, as far as angles and leverage. And so to be able to create things for Chucky or create things downfield for our wide receivers, it's a big challenge because I think they do a great job of that.
And we saw Joe Hill go out early, and I think some people saw Brandon Swindle go out early. Are those guys okay? Are they
Brandon Swindle didn't go out early.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. But any other injuries?
No, Joe's day-to-day. I mean, we got probably 15 guys on our team that are day-to-day right now. I mean, it's been a tough opening stretch. We all said that during training camp, and we're right in the heat of it right now. So these guys continue to grind on the practice field and the training room and get themselves ready. BYU's no different than us, so we're all banged up right now.
Do you expect Williams to play for them at BYU this week?
I don't know.
And his dynamic added to Hill, does it add to the running game? They got bigger guys, it seems like, and then he seems to be really elusive.
He's a good player. He's a really good player, but I don't have any idea. I haven't heard.
Any chance Connor Williams plays this week?
It's day-to-day. Yep.
Do you have any memories of playing BYU as a player that kind of come up at this?
Well, I got good memories as a backup and bad memories when I was a player, and I say that very loosely. Craig, let's not.
I can't remember a thing.
Yeah. 93 game here in Logan was holding a clipboard for Anthony Calvillo, watching him throw it up and down the field, and he and John Walsh had great days. That was in 58, 56, and the thing that stands out to me in that game was maybe the only time I've ever seen it. Is back-to-back-to-back touchdowns. There were 3 straight. I know we threw one and then kicked it off. Tyler ran it all the way back 100 yards, right? And then they kicked it out of the end zone, and Anthony threw an 80-yard touchdown pass. So there was a lot of offense that day, not very much defense, and there was a lot of writing for me on the clipboard that day. So we won 58-56, and that was a big win for the Aggies that day.
Is it unfair to say BYU has the kind of athletes that were chasing our guys around on their defense that USC had?
Oh, yeah, they're very good on defense. I think, comparing them, there's differences in a few of the positions, but there's better players in certain positions, I think, on BYU's defense. BYU, their defense presents the really good challenge. I've said that too many times this morning so far. So,
Were you open to home or on the road for the first 5 games, being at home 3 of 4 now? How nice is that?
well, yeah, it's nice to be back here this week and be in our home game routine or home week routine and play in front of our fans more than anything is to put the Aggie blue jersey on and play in front of our families and our friends and the student body and the herd and all that, and it'll be a neat atmosphere. So it'll be great to be home.
So the San Jose State game, obviously we were coming off a pretty good win from last year against San Jose State. We had, 13 sacks, almost set an NCAA record. But we knew going into the game last week they were going to be ready for that. Their QB was obviously passing it a lot quicker than he had before. It was like, we did the math, it was like 1.3 seconds, something like that he get the ball out, so that was quick. So they obviously were ready for us. I think that, right out of the gate, they came out and they paced us a little bit. I thought they did a good job. They usually passed the ball a lot, which they did, but they tried, some stretch run plays. They tried running it on us a little bit. They had a little bit of success, but we adapted to it. We were able to kind of roll with the punches, and we were able to do what we do best, which is, stop them on 3rd downs and in the red zone. So, when it came down to it, crunch time, we were able to, do what we do best as a defense and keep them out of the end zone, which, as you can see from the score. But they're definitely a good team. They prepared for us well, and they were able to scheme against us pretty good, but we were able to come out on top.
Did the defense have anything to do with that bad snap, or that just happened?
The bad snap?
You guys had anything to do with that?
I don't know. A couple of the plays before, I know the center had kind of jumped a little bit. I know he had an offsides before that. I'm pretty sure it was before that. So maybe they're a little antsy. I'm not sure. D-line does stems every once in a while. Maybe they were thinking about that. I'm not sure.
Thoughts on returning home, being against BYU first off?
You know what? It feels great. It feels good to be home. You know, you don't have to travel. You don't have to worry about getting on the airplane, hotel rooms. It's good to be home. You know, especially for me. This is home. I'm from Logan, so it's kind of special for me to be able to here in Cache Valley play in front of you know, my friends and family. And so there's nothing better than home, and we have the greatest fans in the nation. I love Aggie Nation, so it doesn't get any better.
And being from Logan, what does an in-state game against BYU mean to you personally?
It's big. It's really big. You know, kind of have a sour taste in my mouth from last year. Hoping to get rid of that. This is why you play sports. You know, for rivalry games. You know, BYU. You know, I grew up around BYU, University of Utah. You know, I'm from Logan. My dad actually went to BYU. I've converted him to an Aggie fan, but you know, I bleed Aggie blue, and I want this win more than anyone.
Do you know JD at all? Did you play against each other?
I knew of him. I know he's from the Valley. I went to Skyview High School. We associate with the same people. I knew of him.
Okay.
I didn't know him personally, but I had heard of him before.
So you didn't play against him then?
I think I did. I'm trying to remember the year that he graduated. I think we did. We may have crossed paths.
Last season, 2007, I think.
Yeah, we graduated the same year.
Okay.
Yeah, he was 2007. I thought he was 07 or 08. Yeah, 2007. Yeah, we graduated the same year. He was a good player. Definitely a good player.
I'd imagine there's a lot of guys you recognize across the lines and you have similar associations with. What does that add to this rivalry?
You know, it's kind of, that is a good point. You know, a lot of them are from Utah. A lot of them went on missions, as I did. And it has a point of familiarity, you know, similarity. But, you know, as soon as they put on that BYU uniform, I'm not really looking at that at all. You know, just getting ready to play the Cougars.
Yep, you have a guy in Taysom Hill, though, that you're going to have to chase, contain, all kinds. I mean, he might be the most different quarterback you played so far this year.
Definitely, he can run the ball very well. He is fast. I mean, he's athletic. He's strong. He's a good player. And we got a little taste of it last year when we played down at BYU down in Provo. So he's a good player, but we're going to be able to scheme to the point that we can contain him, that we'll be able to do what we need to as a defensive front, as well as, you know, front seven, to be able to stop the run. And that's always our number one objective. Don't let anybody establish the run, stop the run, and that's what we do best. So that's what we plan on doing.
I don't know if you've watched enough film. They talked about their offensive line. They totally kind of changed it for the Texas game. They changed the personnel, moved some people around. Could you tell the difference? Can you tell how they're playing up?
Yeah, if this might be incorrect, I think it's 7 to 8 guys that, you know, have switched places. There's been 2, you know, solid guys at the left tackle and the center that have stayed most of the time. Other than that, they've kind of been moving positions around, putting different people in to get the results that they want. And so I'm not exactly sure what that means. You know, we've looked at them all. And we're just going to kind of look at each player, see how they do in the scheme, and then plan accordingly.
They run a lot of plays. According to these stats here, like 90 a game, which is hard to believe.
Right. Yeah.
On the video, does it show that?
Yeah,
really
and
pace?
that kind of goes with the pace, you know, not much, don't really huddle. And that's something that we have seen before. I mean, if you remember last year, La Tech, that was the most hurry-up offense I've ever seen. And so, you know, we got in shape for that. And I think that, you know, our off-season training, we do well enough, as well as in-season training, that I think we're going to be fine. Cardio-wise, you know, staying in shape, being able to keep up with the pace. And so it's nothing that we haven't seen before. But they do run a lot of plays.
How have you felt about how this defensive line has held up without being able to play with Connor Williams this year?
Connor Williams, I wouldn't count him out of what we're doing right now. You know, he may not be able to be on the field playing, but he still has a large leadership role on the defensive front. You know, he's on the sidelines, he's at practice. You know, he's doing his regular leadership role, and he's kind of encouraging as well as coaching. I know he doesn't want me to say coaching. He doesn't want to be considered a coach, but he's definitely helping us perform where we need to be. But I definitely miss him out there on the field, and I'll be excited to get him back.
It seems like you've gotten a lot out of Paul and Ricky on the line and some of those defensive end spots. What have you seen from them in terms of growth?
Oh, definitely. There's Paul Bucala. He's done the last 4 or 5 games. He's done so well. His production's through the roof. Ricky has stepped up to the plate, and he's done very well as well. I mean, he's done what he needed to. He's done his job. He's gone above and beyond the call, I believe.
You look like you're a real high motor guy when you play. Where did that come from, or is that just always your nature?
I wouldn't say it's my nature. Most people who know me off the field, they might say I'm like a little calm, like maybe a little shy, which I don't think I am. But as student athletes, we invest so much time into this, our lives into this, so it does become more than a game. And we really like to put everything that we can into it. And I guess I'd be a high motor guy. I like running around. Once you get in that state of playing, you kind of just get lost in the game and just go play football.
Even the San Jose coach brought him up. Your play against Utah when you lost your helmet, he even said, "Look at the effort of this guy. You're always going to be remembered a little bit for that." What can you? I mean, you just obviously just thought you just had to continue to play, or
first off, I'd like to say that wasn't a smart play. It's obviously a penalty, but the helmet got ripped off. I didn't take it off. It got ripped off, and the first thing that came through my mind was, obviously the rule wasn't going through my mind. Was there's a Clay Matthews play, I believe it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
His helmet goes halfway up his face. He rips off his helmet and goes make the tackle. Obviously, I'm nothing like Clay Matthews, but try to go make the play. And like I said, it's an emotional game. Once you get into the game, it's kind of hard to, remember a helmet rule. But like I said, it wasn't the right thing to do.
But it was a heck of an effort.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. Yeah.
BJ, bringing up penalties, I mean, you guys had a lot last week, including that roughing penalty that you got. Some of these, are they just aggression penalties? Are you guys willing to live with them, or are there certain ones that you really need to fix going back?
Well, definitely. I mean, there's been a couple games this year, and you guys know what I'm talking about when I say, penalties have killed us. We need to work on that. That's not to say you should play passive. I think you should play aggressive, high motor. And so obviously we need to work on that, stay off the QB. That one against San Jose State, I mean, I don't think it was a penalty. I was trying to stop, but he got pushed into me, and I'm a little bigger than him.
Didn't Fackrell get there too?
Yeah, Fackrell's the one that got there. He got a hurry on the QB, and then he ran into me. But we definitely got to stay off the QB after he's passing. You got to protect the QB.
You gave Kessler a hard time at USC. You were there a lot of the day.
Yeah, he actually came up to me after the game, and he's like, "Wow, you hit me really hard multiple times." So there's no bad blood there. He's seems like a great guy, and I don't know. Yeah, I got to the QB, and I mean, near the Coliseum, you gotta play your hardest, right?
To review San Jose, just offensively, I think we did a pretty good job. I think we showed what we could do in the run game a little bit more this week than we have in previous weeks. I think as far as a whole, in the red zone, we didn't do what we should have. We didn't do what we normally do. We need to finish our drives. And I think a lot of that comes down. One time we had a holding on the offensive line. That's on us. I put that on us. Just got to finish our drives. So as far as that, I think a lot of people maybe want to know about Kyle Wimpy. That's like losing a brother to me as an offensive line. We had Cini come in. He did a great job. We'll have him in this week for practice, so I think that's good. He's been here a year already, so he knows the offense. I just think he needs to play with a little more confidence, and he'll be good. As far as this coming week with BYU, it's an exciting week, I think, for everyone here at Utah State. Everyone gets amped for this game, and I do too. Even from Washington, I grew up in a fairly Mormon community, and everyone seemed to like BYU. I never have liked BYU, so so it's big for me. They look good. They're a good defensive team. As I look at the front, they have Kyle Vanoy. They have a lot of returning guys. Ethan came back from an injury last year. He was on injury last year, so he's a good player. They got good players. I think they struggle a little bit at linebacker. To be honest with you, I think with Spencer Hadley being out and with that, we should be able to take advantage of getting in the run game this week. That's a big thing I think we want to do as an offense is establish that. So, yeah.
Okay, Spencer's from your hometown.
He is.
Did you know him? Did you play against him?
I played with him. We're on the same team. He's been a good friend of mine. I've called him recently, so we've talked a little bit. So he's a good kid. I feel bad for what happened, but you live those rules when you go there. That's the deal.
Did you guys ever run into each other last year on the field?
Oh yeah, plenty of times.
How was it?
Good. He's a good player. He's a really good player. That's going to hurt BYU, I think, the next few weeks. So.
Even losing Wimpy on Saturday, you guys really, it seemed to motivate. Even Chucky talked about it after that. He thought about him every play, and it seemed there was no loss after he went out, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. I think we all. Right after it happened, if you came to our O-line huddle, we were quiet. We felt it almost had like this feeling there that we lost the game, but I think we all knew that means we need to step our game up. And Sini coming in, we've practiced with Sini. He knows the plays. He knows what he's doing. He's a good player. So we didn't really lose a beat. And plus, when you're playing between Tyler Larsen and Kevin Wimpy, it's hard to do bad with those guys with as much experience as they have. So.
Coach has always talked about you have depth
Yeah.
this year on the offensive front. I guess we get to see all of that now a little bit too.
Yeah, for sure. With him and then also Bill Vaval coming in occasionally, yeah, we do have some good depth to us this year.
BYU held you to 3 points last year. What is it about their defense that you guys kind of struggle with, or what happened last year, and what are you going to do this time around?
Honestly, we obviously want some redemption from last year. Definitely, that was a very big disappointment for our offense. I think we pride ourselves on that, especially the offensive line, scoring points, getting touchdowns. But I can't really say what it was last year. Just something wasn't right with us. I think from the top down, we just underperformed. We didn't perform to our best, and this year we want to come out and show what we really can do.
And then you kind of play an edge on the offensive line once in a while. That's where Van Oy seems to come. You got to be ready for him wherever. This guy's really a really good player.
Yeah, no, we're definitely prepared for him. We're preparing for him. He always finds a way to make a play. We're watching film today, and we were even talking about it. He's 4 yards, it seems, away from the tackle, and the tackle barely sets off the ball, and he jumps up and bats the ball. He's just that good of an athlete where he just seems to make plays no matter where he's at on the field. So, yeah, we got to account for him for sure.
What about Fua? It seems like he's been kind of a breakout guy on the newly
other
structured
side, yeah.
defensive line.
Yeah, Fua's played well. From what I've seen in film, I haven't watched a ton yet, just being at Monday, but he seems to be a solid outside linebacker as well. He plays well, so I don't really know too much about him right now, but he seems like he'll be some good competition.
You talk about establishing the run. What have you seen out of Joey DiMartino that's going to help him propel this team forward?
I think the biggest thing with Joey is he cares and he runs hard every play. You don't ever see him take plays off. Even in practice, even when we're just doing walkthrough, he goes hard all the time. So that's big. He doesn't. He just shows that he has heart and he cares and he wants to win, and that's big. I think that's a big deal. Helps him do well.
We heard against USC, you guys had to improve some technique after that. How do you feel like you did after watching some film on that last game?
A lot better. Definitely a lot better as an offensive line. Yeah, just like you said, we worked quite hard. It was a short week last week, but we worked hard on getting things right, especially as a front. So Coach Weber's a great coach, and he's getting us where we need to be.
You've been on the road so much this year, 4 out of the first 5 games. How nice is it to have back-to-back home games?
Me and actually Tyler Larsen were talking about this earlier today. Just be able to sleep in our own beds, get ready for the game. It's so nice. It almost feels like, football season's obviously started, but it doesn't feel like it around here as much. Like we haven't had the home crowd and stuff like that. So that's going to be nice.
And to have Boise and these, not to look past BYU, but BYU and Boise back-to-back. How big of games are these next 2 for you, would you say?
I think they're huge. BYU, just because it's the rivalry, and you always want to win that game. But then Boise State, that's the conference. I think we're playing them for the conference championship. Who's going to be there in December? So that's a big one.
That last game that Utah State beat BYU here, were you there for that game? Were you in the sidelines? Were you playing?
I was in on punt. I was on punt shield, so I got in, every so often, but I didn't get to really play that much as I'd like. So.
But the feeling of that game compared to these last 2 years where you feel like you've almost maybe played well enough to have won or should have won at Provo both games and not, that's adds to the motivation, I guess, a little bit too.
Yeah, for sure. I think back 2 years ago when we, Turbin had that big run at the beginning and all that stuff. Like we came out hard. It's just been kind of the same thing. We need to finish. We got to finish those games, and that's big for us this game.
What little video you've seen of their defense, and then thinking about what USC, how they played you. Any comparisons between the two units?
I think USC's definitely got the better front, for sure. They were big, they were fast, just really, really athletic guys. Number 94, Leonard Williams. He's an animal. I watched him this weekend, and he's chasing down running back just like he was against us. They're good players there at USC. To take nothing against BYU, they're a good front, but I think USC's kind of got a little bit on them, to be honest.